Weight Watchers now offers access to affordable GLP-1s. It works for members like,
I'm Haley, and I've lost 100 pounds. Weight Watchers has everything I need, from weight loss medications to nutrition support and help with my side effects. It's all in one place.
Weight Watchers handles the insurance for you and offers affordable cash pay options. With our program, our members are losing more weight with expert nutrition and side effect support.
I'm Mike, and I've lost 135 pounds. Weight Watchers prescribing GLP-1 medications. It's been life-changing.
I'm Sharia, and I lost 80 pounds on Weight Watchers. I realized that it would take more than a prescription to lose weight and feel good on a GLP-1.
Better results, expert support, lose more weight, make it last.
I can't imagine doing a GLP-1 without Weight Watchers.
Get started for as low as $25 at weightwatchers.com/GLP1. For over 60 years, we've helped millions of members find what works for them. Now, it's your turn. Weight Watchers. Watch it work.
Welcome to the Awakening Women Show. I'm your host, Leanne Oaten, a former counselor with a background in counseling psychology. I'm a mentor for high-achieving, ambitious women with over 13 years in the mental health and empowerment space. I've guided hundreds of women and have influenced over 100,000 through my platforms, podcast, and other courses, programs, and mentorship. I'm also the creator of the Relationship Clarity program, formerly known as End the Cycle, which you will hear me mention a lot of times as we go through the episodes. This program is to help women break free from destructive relationship cycles and come to clarity and power about their next step. This show is for the woman who knows her relationship struggles go deeper than the usual conflict. You know there's something more going on, but you can't quite nail it down or pinpoint what that is. You'll find clarity here, empowerment, truth, and validation. Clarity on whether your relationship can be healed or whether it's time to reclaim your life and move forward. What started as me sharing my own experiences quickly became a movement because the truth is so many ambitious, successful women are stuck in confusing and draining relationship dynamics while trying to rise in every other area of their life, career, motherhood. This is you, you're not alone, and you don't have to keep living this way. Inside this podcast, you'll hear some of my most downloaded episodes, plus fresh content designed to help you break patterns, reclaim your wholeness, and decide once and for all if this relationship is where you belong. I'm so glad you found this space. Let's dive in. Welcome to this edition of the Awakening Women podcast. I'm your host, Leanne Oaten, and in this episode, we're talking about another type of addictive pattern, and that is around finances. This one is very, very close to my heart because this has been such a huge part of my own evolution, is my financial success, life, all of it, because there have been so many different twists and turns and ups and downs. And when Awakening Women took off in 2019, I very quickly built a 6-figure a year coaching business, a very profitable, low expense. I was actually bringing home 6 figures, not earning it and then paying out a huge team and all these things. I kept it very lean. In fact, I never had a team because, well, that's the next other conversation. But I did try to hire people, and I always found it just was more stressful than just getting it done myself. I recognize that's something I'm going to have to face and do differently. But the moral of the story is that I created a very profitable coaching business, very simple, and built that level of financial success for myself. Even when I was creating that level of income, I still felt anxious, panicky, and up and down around money. So I have really been on a journey to figuring out what creates this. And one of the things that I have noticed and that I realized through Barbara Staney's work, she wrote Overcoming Under-Earning. This is a book I highly recommend for women no matter if you're a 6-figure plus earner, this does not mean that you are good with your money. She talks about how even high earners are still under earning, and this was very much me. So you'll have to go listen to her audiobook or buy the book. I'm not going to go in depth with that, but I'm pointing you toward that resource if 2026 is also the year you want to get your financial shit together. And she talks about it so brilliantly that even women who are earning 6 figures or more can still be what she calls under earners. And then she talks about the different characteristics of what that looks like. But what she talked about that stood out to me with this conversation around addiction to chaos is that there can be an addiction to financial struggle and financial chaos. because we can get addicted to that adrenaline of the drama and the struggle of that I'm barely surviving, or I've got to keep an eye on every penny, or we go through periods where we're spending freely and then we come down from that high or that crash and realizing that we overspent, or we hoard money for fear of running out, even when there is more than enough. This is what I went through. I went through that ups and downs around that. And so what I have learned is that we need to create some financial safety within our bodies, just like we do when it comes to our love lives, and learn to create safety in our relationships with money. And again, I'm speaking to high earners. I've worked with very high earners that had their finances in awful disarray, on the brink of losing everything. So it is not about not earning. It's about women learning how to manage and bring in the level of income that they need to live a comfortable life, where they feel like they're living comfortably and they have no real need for anything else. They have the finances to invest in themselves and do the things that are living in alignment with their truest values. And so these are women who do invest in coaching and recognize the importance of self-development. You invest in your health and wellness and specialists around holistic healthcare. You invest more. These are just examples like that are typical, is you will invest in your health and eating things like organics, or try to find the more healthier options, or meats that you know where they're coming from. So the grass-fed local beef, or free-run chicken, organic eggs, like these are my things. So that's what's coming up for me, but maybe yours are different. Maybe yours is travel, fancy bags, luxury, that kind of thing. My luxury is being able to go and buy those kinds of foods without having to think about it, because it's a high value of mine to be healthy and to eat quality food. So if you are noticing that your nervous system is quite triggered around money, even though you make good money, and this is actually something that coincides with women staying in relationship chaos. So this is looking through the lens of why we bring the chaos in. Okay, why do we bring the chaos in? It's to distract ourselves from feeling what it is that we need to feel. And that constant adrenaline rush of the chaos makes us feel alive. When we don't have that, we can start to feel numb, dead inside, bored, empty. What now? It's very uncomfortable. Breaking any addictive pattern, any addictive emotional pattern, is very uncomfortable. No doubt about it. Not a cakewalk, not a quick fix, but what we find is that we can often have coinciding addictive patterning around chaos, operating from adrenaline, putting out fires. You'll notice you have financial crisis after financial crisis you're putting out. Or maybe you are not charging what you should be charging, or asking for that raise, or earning at the level you should be for your level of expertise, because you are self-sabotaging. And this goes on with our mindset. It goes with our past traumas. It's all linked. And money is energy of power. And so if you have issue with being powerful, with owning your brilliance, owning your gifts, owning your expertise and what you have created and all of what you know and how good you are at what you do, and you are settling for lower pay than what you actually should be getting paid, or you're charging rates that you know you should be getting more, or you seem to be working so many hours and yet still making good money and always still feeling anxious around money, panicked around money, worried about it, thinking about it all the time. And as I said, women can get into this as an addictive pattern, and it's self-sabotaging. So what you will find then is that you will have this fear because you think, if I leave this relationship, then how am I going to make it on my own, even though you have the financial ability to do so? And so this is why this work is so important. And I'm not speaking to women who are making no income. That's a separate issue altogether. If you're not making any income, you have no business, no credentials, no schooling, nothing to bring the money in, then you're at the very bottom level of where you need to rise up into. So this isn't for you. If you are at that place, then your job is to figure out what is the way you're going to make money. How much money do you want to make? Not think you need, but how much do you want to make to live comfortably, as I said, so that all of your needs are taken care of, your wants, and you're able to live comfortably in alignment with your values to purchase and invest in the things that make your life better, because that's what else is money for, right? It's to improve our quality of life. So what do you do if you're in this place of financial chaos, even though you earn well? So some of the triggers around this, we have to identify the pattern, is the overspending, like I said, undercharging, settling for less than you deserve, and saying yes to things that drain you, sabotaging income opportunities, not charging what you should be, lending out money to people, giving money to people, helping people that are not helping themselves. This could be partners or anyone else. And so you have to ask yourself, why do I actually enjoy this struggle, this scarcity of things feeling tight? And why am I doing this? Because there's always a payoff to everything that we do. So look at the pattern. Where are you in a pattern of leaking your finances into dead-end situations without holding that energy? So money is energy. And as we are leaking our life force energy, our emotional energy, and all these things, we're very likely in proportion leaking our financial energy. And so when we start to become self-sourced and we're doing this work emotionally to become self-sourced women, then the financial aspect is one of the rungs of being self-sourced. And this means regulating your stress response around money. So feeling like you are on top of it, you know what you're doing with it, you know how much is coming in, you know how much is going out, you're comfortable, you can live in alignment with your highest values. So this is all work that we do inside the collective, by the way, because this is the work that frees women from destructive relationships. We're taking the focus off of a man, off of anything else, and we're bringing it to building you up so that you can see where are the patterns where I keep getting tripped up. And money is often interlinked in there. As I said, I've worked with many successful high-earning women who still could not leave destructive relationships. So we need to get to the bottom of what's really going on here and what's at the root of our patterns. Otherwise, we'll keep repeating them over and over, and life will just continue to spiral out of control. It will not get better until we are able to witness and identify the pattern and get out of denial that it's not the economy, that it's not this person or that person or your partner even. You have given up power financially over your money. And this is a really big thing I'm so passionate about with women, because we cannot have an empowered life, ladies, if we're not empowered with our money. Nobody can convince me otherwise. And so if you feel like you're kind of a mess, that it's chaos, that you're very disorganized around money, that you got money coming from here, there, and everywhere, and you don't know what's going in, what's going out, you've got bills coming in and you're like, what's this for? What's this subscription for? What's that? What's this? What's that? And then you're saying, well, I can't take a, for instance, I can't get mentorship that I need right now to actually help me figure all this out. But really you can, you just are leaking your finances into other areas. So I'm very much about financial intentionality and being very strategic and looking at where you're leaking money. So it's looking at your credit card balances. It's looking at your bank regularly and looking for things that are coming out. It's funny, I had something coming out that I still have not been able to figure out how it happened, but it's a subscription to this supplement company that I buy my supplements from. And I canceled it, but yet this over $100 a month was being taken out of my account, and I could not and still cannot get a hold of someone from the company. It's not showing up in my account when I log in. I cannot find it under any of my emails. I am not able to locate it to cancel it. And so it keeps coming out and I wasn't aware. I wouldn't have known this had I not been looking closely. And so these are things that can start to happen and they take up mental space. They make you feel more scattered when you have bills and you're like, I gotta stay on top of this one and this one comes out at this date. And so I had to really learn this one and get really, really good and on top of making sure everything's paid on time. So you avoid late fees. So you avoid the chaos of then having to call the company and catch up on your payments. You know, financial chaos was a big thing for me too. And I kept saying to myself that it was not my fault, that, you know, I would always have a way to blame why I was so disorganized, instead of going, no, this is something I have to figure out. The company now getting mad at me and threatening to cut things off because I've missed 2 payments because I lost track. It's not their fault. That's my fault. So I would tend to kind of give my power away, or I'd leave a stack of envelopes and not open them. I am now at a place where I am on time with my payments of everything. I have a really good credit score. I worked really hard to build that up. I own my own home. I am constantly getting those things in the mail, like, here's another $30,000 credit card. And I'm like, no, I do not want to accept that one. No, thank you. But my point is I built that up from nothing. And so this is still a journey I'm working on, because even though I earned close to $1 million inside of Awakening Women, my money shit is still, it comes up, it rears its ugly head. There's new levels. This is why I'm sharing this, because as I said, I work with women who are smart, successful, high earning in the collective. They're women that do have a lot of positive things going for themselves. And some would even say, I think that, oh no, I'm fine with money. I earn more than enough money. But again, it's looking up at how is your relationship with that money. And so we need to identify the pattern, and then we need to interrupt that addictive spiral, that ongoing cycle. And this is a very similar method that we're using inside the collective to shift relationship chaos. And it's identify the pattern, interrupt the addiction cycle, rewire the unconscious reward system, and shift the identity. And then we're moving into safe adrenaline, creating that safety within our body, mind your emotional addiction, and then reprogram your habits. So this is the process for financial problems as well. When you are not living in nervous system balance with your finances. So it's if any of these things I've shared with you resonate, and this is where you're feeling this constant anxiety around money, even though you have the money, it's still there, then I really, really recommend that you get the book, Overcoming Under-Earning. Very, very good book for women. Okay, so once we have identified the pattern, then we go into interrupting the spiral, the cycle. So the adrenaline rush comes from the crisis thinking of I'm in trouble, and then I scramble, and then I survive, and then there's the adrenaline spike. And you interrupt this by removing the drama intentionally. So some examples, and these are the things that I did that definitely help with regulation around this, is automating bill payments, setting up an emergency cushion, or pre-planning your spending so you remove that last-minute panic. So those are a few tips that you can have there to get out of that, because I was always in that late bill payments because so scattered, too many things on the go. That tends to be my excuse. And it created chaos because I wasn't on top of all the things that needed to be paid. That was my fault. So taking the time, even though I told myself I don't have time to go set all this up, I set aside an afternoon and I went and I set them all up. Done. But I would always tell myself, I'm too busy. I don't know how I'm going to get all those things automated, and I don't have time to sit down and do that. So that again is part of the pattern. And so it's about creating that time and recognizing it's going to free up energy, free up mental space. And then we need to rewire your reward system because you've been getting rewarded by the chaos. But now what we want to do, you want to reward yourself for having stability. So every time that you save or you charge appropriately, you raise your rates, you own your value, you don't discount your services, your highest deliverable services. This is true, especially with entrepreneurs, therapists, coaches, people who are doing service-based businesses. Your highest value service is your time and your energy. So when you are giving one-on-one time, that is time you cannot get back. That is your highest value service. So we should never be discounting private one-on-one services, which I do not do. That is my highest level investment. If you get my eyeballs on your situation, you get my one-on-one attention, that's my highest value level of service. And then when you have other tiers, so you have something that's more of a group level where clients still get access to you on some level, that's different. You can play around with pricing and bonuses and things like that differently, because it's not necessarily that you're taking a lot more time because you're serving a one-to-many. So you're serving more than one person, but in one stream, like one group, or however that looks. And that's what I do inside the collective with the Telegram is depending on the tier you come in on. I've offered a VIP level where it includes some one-on-one, or there's just the group aspect. And so I can serve a lot more women in the group, but they don't get one-on-one access to me. One-on-one, like, let's dig into this, let's dive deep, let's do a whole planning session kind of thing. Whereas when I'm one-on-one with women, they're getting access to my mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual energy. So that is the highest deliverable. That's the highest source of being able to work with me. And so I want you to think about it like this, is if you're a business owner or not, or you are a company owner, are you paying yourself appropriately? If you are working for someone, are you actually, are you settling rather than saying, hey, actually, I do this, and this is more appropriate to what I'm doing, and pitch yourself differently? Do you need to have other streams of income? So I love talking about this stuff. I don't want to go too far off the rails, but I actually really love talking about business and talking about how women can earn more and fall in love with their money and learn that it's actually a beautiful thing to love money and want money, and also to want to live abundantly so that you can be of higher service. No one's ever been able to serve anyone from broke mentality. We cannot do anything when we are broke, when we have no money. And I'm sorry, money can't buy happiness. Okay, sure. But not having money will make you miserable, sick. It'll keep you up at night. If you are somebody that thinks, oh, I don't need money, that's not what it's all about. I don't like greedy people. I don't like people with money. Then that is your limiting thinking that is impacting your ability to earn it. So think about how you see people who have money. What kind of things do you tell yourself about them? It's usually the ones that don't have any that hate people that show it off, right? Not that I'm that type of person, but you can kind of tell, obviously, online when people are just doing it for the brand and all of that. I find that a little bit obnoxious, but whatever. It's more about when you see people with nice things, or you see people with homes that you want to have, or nice vehicles or whatever, and you look at them negatively, that shines a light on your money mindset, rather than saying, oh, I actually love that, and I see that as evidence that I could have that. If they have it, why can't I? If she's done it, why can't I? If she built a 6-figure business from zero on her own, then why can't I? And I started off with counseling and one-on-one sessions and moved into online. And that was where I was really able to create meaningful income. I don't believe you can do that very well on a one-off hourly service without burning out, because counseling is one of the top careers for burnout because of the level of emotional energy that goes into when you're counseling clients. So if you are someone that does consulting, coaching, therapy, and you're wanting to know, how do I do that, Leanne? How? You can reach out to me. And this is something I'm going to be putting out in 2026. Just a little plug here because it's not available right now, but I am going to be expanding my consulting services into helping women in those types of professions, how to expand and serve more in a meaningful level and earn more while doing it without burning out. So reach out to me if that's something that you want some info on. All right. So I want you to look at what are the areas that you are leaking your financial power. That's the first piece. And then what are some things you can do to create financial peace? And so those suggestions that I've given you, you can put those into practice today, or you can come up with your own. And then the next thing is shifting at the identity level. You aren't the woman who barely makes it or the woman who's constantly scrambling. No more of that. What you need to do is shift into the identity of someone who creates, commands, and controls her income, the energy of money, where it's going, where it's coming out, where it's coming in. And then I want you to see yourself now at the identity of being the financially resourceful woman, that you make money easily, that you thrive in abundance thinking, that you are letting go of scarcity thinking around money, and you are stepping into the woman of abundance. And the shifting into that there is a level of acting as if. That doesn't mean you go and put, $20,000 on a credit card that you don't have or have no way to know how you're going to pay for it. No, but it is about doing investments that are out of your comfort zone, but are going to grow you, or they're moving you toward where it is you want to go. So for me, when I first started off with my online business, I didn't actually have the capital to do much of anything. I started from nothing and $0, no help, did it on my own. And I remember the very first business coach I hired and joined his program, I didn't know how I was going to pay for that. I put down the first deposit and then took the program because I knew that if I don't learn this, then where am I going to go? I knew that doing this with this person was going to shorten the timeline from where I was to where I wanted to be. And he was teaching exactly what it was that I wanted to learn. And I loved his style. He talked about energy and, the mindset and the consciousness around it. And I really loved that. So I found a way and I did it. And then from there, I continued to do that with other business mentorship programs. And most of those times, it wasn't like, oh, I've got this multiple thousands of dollars that are just sitting there for coaching. Well, I did, I guess, but I still told myself, no, you really shouldn't be continuing to spend more. You've already spent enough on mentorship and things like that. But for me, when I find someone that really activates something within me and they have the experience, I can tell their experience, they have expertise, I like their style, I just have a good feeling from what they're teaching, then I will invest, because then I take that as a sign that I'm meant to learn my next level with this person that's already doing what it is that I want to do, which is the whole point of mentorship. So I want you to look at what is your next level identity. So what's something that you can invest in that you've been telling yourself, oh, I shouldn't spend that kind of money, or I can figure it out myself, or whatever it is. So what is that thing? And is it in alignment with where it is that you want to go? Is it in alignment with your highest values? So those are some things to ask yourself. And then number 6 is mind your emotional addiction to the pattern, because scarcity often masks fear. It's fear of being out of control or making the wrong choices, even fear of success. Some of us women have a fear of our own power and a fear of actual success and what that might mean. And there are varying reasons why women can have those fears or out earning family members or friends. That's one. And so then we keep ourselves small so that we're not making other people feel small. It's crazy the things we do. So I want you to think about these and then write them out in journaling and just get clear on where it is that you keep getting hooked. What's the pattern? And then it's reprogramming your financial habits gradually. We start small. So as I said, you can automate savings. So however your paychecks work, you can have it automated that some of it automatically gets put into a savings cushion. You track your money and your expenses of what's going in and what's coming out. Then you ask yourself, where can I raise my rates or ask for a raise? Cut out compulsive empty spending, which is like buying things, more stuff, more clutter. What is the thing that you compulsively spend on that you kind of know, I got to stop doing this? It could be clothes. It could be expensive handbags or things like that, whatever it is. And you tend to spend to make yourself feel better. That's the difference, is you're shopping for that high. One that can really be a problem that I had to nip in the bud was online spending. Because I would, you get these ads and you're like, oh, and boom, the click of one button, it's on the way. Boom, boom, boom. It's like, I definitely had a problem with that for a while there. And I had to stop myself as I realized that was a self-sabotaging pattern. And it's also looking at how can we live more abundantly and how do we create that abundance energy? So look at where you can create some of that financial calm, the stability. How are you going to do that based on what we've talked about here? And what are the things that you need to have in place in order to create more financial grounding for yourself? So use some of the tips here. Go get the book. That could be your New Year's resolution, is to get your money shit together and overcome these patterns and feel really empowered around your finances and claim, I want to be healthy and wealthy and balanced and loved and full of energy. Because some women have a problem with even the idea of rich. Like, be a rich woman. And it doesn't always have to mean that you have millions. It could. But rich looks different depending on what that looks like to you. Just like, what's that guy, Ramit? I can't remember how you say his last name. But he talks about living your rich life. What is your rich life? What does that look like to you? And as I said, one of mine is being able to freely buy the highest quality foods, honestly, is one big one, and not worry about it. Knowing I'm eating the best quality foods for my body so that I can show up fully, so I can live longer, live healthier, feed my kids. I've raised them on all that kind of food. And, there's other things too that are up there with my values. Personal growth, mentorship, coaching, very high value of mine because I always want to be evolving. And not anymore from like a seeking constant kind of way, but just this is part of what I do. So every year there is an allocation of like, okay, this is the mentorship I'm going to invest in this year. And maybe you pick one or two: personal, career, leadership, business, whatever. I think we need to look at both. It's getting naturopathic healthcare, supplementation, hormonal replacements. None of these things are cheap, but they are all in alignment with my highest values. So look at your values. This is something you can do, and ask yourself, am I spending in alignment with them, or am I putting money into things I don't actually value? Or things that I don't actually need anymore. Like, do I have enough clothing or shoes or purses or handbags or whatever it is? And all of these suggestions that I'm making may not need to apply to you, but what does apply to you? So I want you to just use this as a kind of a roadmap to coming up with your own financial security blueprint. What does that look like? And take ownership of this. take responsibility, because nobody's coming to save you. There's no white knight coming in, and women need to be on top of their own finances. I really believe in this, because so many women get entangled financially or with someone, and then I hear this enough times, women that are not earning any money at all, and they are trapped in a bad relationship. It's prevalent everywhere. And this is why I share what I share, because I believe every woman has the ability to put herself in a better position. But a lot of times we self-sabotage and keep repeating the same patterns. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode, a little off the usual topic, but not really, because this is coming from the same lens of women who are not emotionally mastered. We're not in our emotional maturity. We're not in our emotional awareness. We're reactive. We're all over the place. We're chaotic. We're here, there, and everywhere doing 1,000,001 things, when what we really need to do is do less, but do it better and do it more intentional. I'll chat with you in the next episode.